Now, for more on China's Belt and Road Initiative and its relationship with Latin America, we're joined by Cecilia Nahon, Argentina's former ambassador to the US. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you. Now, a lot of people are wondering, how does Latin America as a whole fit into the Belt and Road Initiative, especially since most of the focus seems to be more so on Asia and Europe?
Well, that's true. As you say, originally the Belt and Road Initiative was mainly focused on Eurasia, trying to strengthen the infrastructure and the connectivity links between and within East Asia and Europe. But I think it's very good news that it has become to be a top priority, foreign policy priority for China. And that certainly means also including Latin America within this very general strategic goal. And it comes at a very timely moment. Latin America is in need of developing and strengthening its infrastructure. There's a very significant infrastructure gap, though there's been a lot of progress in the last decade. There's still more need of good projects in the energy sector, in the railway sector, in terms of roads. And the potential of a constructive partnership with China, I think it's very attractive at this moment.
And as you mentioned, a lot of progress so far in infrastructure in the region, but they do lag behind a lot of other parts of the world when it comes to really getting that investment. How big of a role do you think the Belt and Road Initiative could play in that?
Well, it's certainly building on a strengthening in the relations between many Latin American countries and China in the last decade, so it's kind of strengthening that direction. In the case of Argentina, for example, since 2004, there has been a very significant growth in the bilateral relation, both in terms of trade and also in terms of the funding and the development of very significant mega infrastructure projects. For example, two hydropower dams are going to be constructed with Chinese funding in the next years, and this is a very significant project. And in general, the relation in terms of trade has been growing. Nowadays, for Peru, for Chile, and for Brazil, China is the #1 trading partner. It's #2 in the case of Argentina. And I want to highlight something that I think is important of this initiative. The idea, the values, that this initiative has to really build on mutual benefit cooperation,
right,
on a partnership that is based on equal footing, to complement the benefits both for China and for Latin American countries. I think this makes it unattractive in terms of the potential. Now all this vision has to really come to practice.
And speaking of those mutual benefits, what sort of benefits have we seen so far in the region because of this initiative?
Well, I think that basically it's the potential right now to really face and provide the financing for some projects that otherwise were having some challenges. We are in a world that is still with a very sluggish economic growth, in which the traditional sources of growth are not really providing all the benefits in terms of jobs, in terms of innovation, in terms of infrastructure that we need. So I think that to complement the traditional financing opportunities like the international financial institutions, right, with the new development bank, with the Asian Infrastructure Development Bank, gives a lot of opportunity for our countries. Again, right, it has to be mutual benefit, which is the big challenge when you talk about this, also in terms of the environment.
And Cecilia, which countries are really capitalizing on the potential that they see in the Belt and Road, and what could some potential challenges be?
Well, there's one challenge always when you talk about big infrastructure projects, which is to make them sustainable in terms of socially conditions for the people that live in those areas, for the people that are affected by these big projects that need to be taken care of. And of course, in terms of the sustainability of the environment, that's a challenge. I think that we also want these projects to really provide jobs in the communities in which they are developed, so they can really be long-term attractive for the countries. And of course, there's an important challenge always to really get the financing and make sure the countries grow to be able to sustain those higher levels of debt in the future.
And what do you think is the best way for some of these businesses who are seeing what's happening with the Belt and Road? How can they really capitalize on that?
Well, there are a lot of opportunities in the energy sector, in the technology sector, of course, in the infrastructure, big projects for transportation, for increasing connectivity. So it's always relevant to identify which are those opportunities that really provide for the economic growth of the economy. These projects need to, again, be good for Argentina, for Chile, for Brazil, for our region, and also for strengthening Chinese relations.
Right.
But at the end of the day, they have to serve the people of both countries. So I think that's a big challenge that we have in a very challenging economy, world economy. You have to make sure that these projects really pay off for the people.
And that is the most important thing at the end of the day. Thank you so much, Cecilia Nahon, former Argentinian ambassador to the US.